States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
The printed agenda is good to go.
Okay, then we need a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Bart, second by Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mag?
Can you adjust that screen?
Yes, should we put Mag up there? You can tell if she gave the thumbs up. I'm assuming.
I did give the thumbs up. Yeah, I've got a fussing baby here who also gave the thumbs up.
Hey.
Yes.
Okay. Abstain. Motion carried. Let's see here. Our presentations, our capital project update.
So with that, we'll turn it over to our friends from Hunt or from Turner Construction and Hunt.
Okay, can everybody in the room just confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, it should have just popped up. So tonight we are actually going to go through all 6 phases that are between the 2 capital projects, the ones that are currently under construction, as well as Hunt. Both Alan and Jake are on the line from Hunt, and they're going to give an update of where we're at in design for the last 2 phases that are out for design and then go out for bid late this year and early next year.
Michelle, you gotta speak up. You gotta use your mom voice, please.
Okay, let me try something different here real quick.
Michelle, we lost you.
Can you hear me now better?
Yeah.
Yes.
That didn't work. Okay. Okay, I'll try to talk real loud here. So on the opening slide here, this looks very different even tonight if you drove past it. This is the main parking lot renovation at the high school. Well, first phase we're going to discuss is phase 1. Julian's going to speak to some of the remaining work we have there, but this project is about 80 to 85% complete, with the main parking lot being the big feature we're completing this summer. So with that, Julian.
Yep. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. So the last remaining completion milestone that we have for phase 1 is the high school main lot. The schedule and contract completion milestone is 8/31 of this summer. Right now with the early start, Lakeshore is tracking towards an 8/15 completion date. Getting a couple weeks head start starting in the middle of June. The change work in the high school secure vestibule has started to progress. We're next up on the list in the month of July is going to be flooring, the new door frame, and the secure pass-through window. Corrective action and punch list items across all the different additions and renovation areas. The remaining open items we have there is 28. That's mainly touch-up paint for the most part, scattered throughout the different additions and areas of the building. Some additional July work activities, completing those open punch list items that we have open. The main parking lot will progress with substrate installation as well as continuing on with the concrete sidewalks, which we were able to get a jump on early. The interior door modifications over by the auditorium, those are mostly complete right now. We're doing patch to match work with the tile and terrazzo, and then doors, that work should be completed in July. Some display case upgrades progressing in mid-July when the glass comes in, and that should progress towards the end of July and be pretty close to completion.
Are there any questions on the phase 1 of the project, which really consists of the work being done at the high school? Seneca? Advance there. Phase 2, so this is an update on Prospect. There if you've been over, we have most of the contractors have most of the building under renovation at this point. Jim's going to go through and update us on some milestones. Just items of note at the end. We're going to talk a little bit about the kitchen schedule, and this has even been updated as of today. So we did this last week. With that, Jim, could you go through the milestone dates?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. So milestone dates at Prospect right now, when you would go over with the HVAC renovation project, we pretty much have every corner of the building opened up right now, but areas are starting to progress towards finishes. We've got a library turnover to the district at the end of July, which is tracking well. And overall, the project substantial completion is 8/31, which includes the kitchen and serving area, which we can go over later, like Michelle said. So conforming and corrective action punch list update. We've got a total of 240 items. It's similar to the high school. We have 29 open items right now, and that's split about 75-25. There's a few remaining items from the initial punch list, which covered the server room in the new server room for the main office and classroom wing. And then there's just some open construction items that we're tracking in completion as well. June and July work activities, like I said, in the library, we're progressing towards completion. So right now there's flooring and ceiling grid and paint happening in the space. Casework and finishing up the ceilings will follow that. There's the library corridor there's basically the connection point between the main library space and the corridor that is next to the main gym. That space is lagging just a little bit behind the main library space, and that was for the structural reconstruction work for a new chiller system for the HVAC. So, but that's still tracking for July 31st substantial completion. Kitchen and serving area, the wall framing is substantially complete by the end of the month. This month, about half of the drywall is on the walls right now. We have wall tiles starting probably next week, and we're progressing with in-wall rough-in to complete the drywall work in the space. And all the while, the D.B. Brown, the mechanical contractor, has been doing their mechanical rooftop replacements as they go through the summer. So items of note at the bottom of the page here, the kitchen schedule was affected by unforeseen abatement, flooring, mud set demo, and floor slab infill. We were able to start early, obviously, in the space, but those unforeseens do outweigh that that little bit of delay, or that, sorry, let me back up. Those unforeseens outweigh that little bit of ahead work that we started. So right now we had a meeting with the contractors today to review schedule and get creative on how to overlap trades and how to progress that space efficiently. And we were able to come up with a plan that does show final clean by the end of August. So that's what we're working towards right now.
So to clarify, Jim, the kitchen work at Prospect will be turned over to the district before the students return on September 1st.
Yes, Bob, this is Michelle. It does, yep. It shows with the schedule today, and we do have some dates or durations just to vet out with subs, but it does show about a week prior going through like the health department inspection, turning over to the district, the training on the equipment.
Thank you.
So your slides just not updated?
We will provide you with that updated schedule once it's vetted out. Tomorrow with some of the subs, Savarino had to call and confirm a few durations and date with our subcontractors as well, because we were checking into some of the primes. We can give you confirmation of that schedule by the end of the new schedule. Any more questions on the kitchen or prospect? I guess quick, this photo here is a shot from in the library. It does look a little different now, but this is in the main library space late last week. These are just some of the mechanical units, the hoods that go up on the roof, and those are actually all starting to go up, so the pile's dwindling. This shot here, the lower one, is looking through the kitchen space. This is if you were at the corridor side of the existing kitchen space looking out into the addition. It's opened up into there now. And if you're actually to go in there as of today, the walls are there. You see stud and some board. With that, we will move into 3.1. 3.1 is the Seneca parking lot and the high school roof renovation. And with that, I'll hand this over to Julian. These are some photos from last week. If you went by today, look a little different. There's blacktop down now. Most of the parking, the base.
So if you were to drive by there a few weeks ago, it would have definitely looked a lot different than it has now. For the beginning part of the schedule, all the underground utilities, where it doesn't look like much is happening out there. It takes a bit of time. So over the past couple of weeks, we've progressed all the concrete work, slip form curb work, and we actually started asphalt on Monday. And for the last couple of days, our parking lot is about 90% covered with the binder. They'll wrap up binder in the main lot area tomorrow, and then proceed to top coat the Thursday and Friday of this week. And then the only remaining asphalt will be associated with the utility tie-in on Fern Ave, which is scheduled to progress next week. Striping will happen just prior to, I know substantial completion date shown here is 7/3, which we are trending towards next week. The official turnover to the district following punch list striping of that lot is the 13th of the month. But with the asphalt going down, we should be able to make accommodations that we can start to get people parked in there. And then we're going to coordinate a Saturday around 7:10 to complete all the striping. A lot after that, asphalt was allowed to cure for 14 days. Does anybody have any questions on phase 3.1?
Quick roofing update, Julian.
Oh, parking lot has gotten so much attention and it's looking beautiful back there. I forgot about the fun roofing work. Roofing has progressed nicely. We got an early jump with that starting in mid-May. Roof area A, which is over the main office area, extending down towards the business office area, that will be laid up, weather pending, by the end of this week with just detailed work and fascia remaining. Then they'll progress with layup of the new roof system where they've completed tear off in area B, which is the east wing of the high school. That'll take place through much of July, and you should start to see the layup of the new roof system over the west wing of the high school starting by the end of July. So things are trending nicely with the crews that we have up there right now. It's currently 2 crews, 1 8-person crew completing tear off work, while another 8-person crew is chasing behind them with the layup of the new roof system.
Are there any questions on the Seneca parking lot project or the roofing project at the high school?
You identified the solution with the curb that we've talked about this week. I know there was a resolution today.
There was the resolution. Julie met with Mark this morning, was to leave the curb in place as shown on the drawings and not to cut it back. That I think it was like 6 feet. We were going to cut it back last week. That was proposed and retain for it inside the right of way. It's staying as is currently.
And that was due to the future transition of that being expected to be a one-way road in the near future, as well as if we cut that curb down towards the Greer building, there could be some potential drainage issues where that curb in place now currently acts sort of as a dam in a heavy rainfall, where some of that topsoil and grass might have resulted in washing away or kind of cut swale right through your drive lane if we were to cut it away. So the decision was made this morning to leave it in place.
Are there any further questions?
If I can get a little more information, at the July meeting of the police commission, this is on the agenda for that road to become a one-way, street. We do not anticipate any obstacles to that. No one has voiced a concern yet, but the city does need to go through a process, to identify that and gather input before it can say one way or the other.
Are there any other comments before we move on to 3.2?
No.
No.
Phase 3.2 is Vets Park. Julian's going to go through our milestone dates, corrective actions, and work we anticipate getting into in the month of July.
So current milestone dates, the underground site utilities are tracking towards the completion that first week of July. The underground water utility tap was performed by the city today, which allows us to continue to progress that work later this week and into next week to complete that underground utility work. The Musco light system and scoreboards are, the milestone date has those complete by the end of August. We should see Musco light poles. Right now they are scheduled to be out here the last week of July, the 27th, 28th, and 29th to stand up all 13 of our Musco light poles for the sports lighting. The installation of the turf, that milestone date is the end of August. We're currently working on a plan to try to get them in a bit sooner to try to improve on that date, but our milestone schedule at bid time had that date complete, or that turf field complete 10/26. The bleachers and press box are one of the later site items to happen this fall with the completion date of 11/9. Buildings A, which is our existing building that we're renovating, building D and E, which are the two baseball dugouts, are scheduled to be substantially complete the end of October. Buildings B and C, which have a little bit more work in them, are scheduled to be substantially complete a couple weeks later, 11/13 of this fall. Project substantial completion is 4/27 of 21 with some landscape items and paving that is not anticipated to be able to take place before it gets too cold for asphalt, and some plantings to take place next spring. Current corrective action items and punch list. That we haven't had the punch list up there, but our corrective actions, we had one open item, which has since been closed since we published this. And we have 9 quality conforming observations that we put into place. That number might have actually gone up a couple that I put in the last couple of days as well. Some July work activities. Building A roof replacement is scheduled to get started. Masonry work will be starting with setup next week, followed by the actual installation of blocks just after the 4th of July weekend. Building B and C is where the masonry work is scheduled to begin, immediately following the exterior wall installation, which has bearing plates to support our steel joists. The structural steel will go in the end of July. Site work, talked about the water service, the scoreboard, and field prep will be taking place in July. Scoreboard foundations, the baseball one has already been poured. The multi-purpose large video board, that foundation is scheduled to take place in July. Some field equipment foundations are also going. A lot of that happens with the turf prep and drainage out in the fields for the removable fence, the field goal post, and base foundations as well. Does anybody have any questions on Best Park?
Quick explanation of photos we put on here. This is one of the dugouts. Is that the dugout? Sorry, not the dugout. That's the concession. The baseball field and the press box. And then that lower photo with all the underground sticking up is your main team room and concession at the multi-purpose field. And that's the plumbing line sticking up, and there's a few electrical in there too. Any
If the weather holds out this week, we should have our slab on grades poured for each one of those new buildings. Is anticipated by the end of this week if these afternoon thunderstorms will cooperate with us. That is the current plan.
The other piece with the turf installation is board members have some literature, some renderings of the center field logo, the center logo on the multi-purpose field. I did email this to Dr. McCune. Also, I received this today from Rick at A-Turf, excuse me, and from Turner. And this is fairly timely, so board members, if you can take a look at the color schematics for the center logo, in particular the facial area. The others are pretty self-explanatory, but we're looking to get that right. I did ask for an intermediate version between the brown and the red clay hue for the facial area, and I'm waiting to hear back, but we just got this afternoon, so we may not get this until tomorrow. So you can just take a look at that and let me know what your preferences are. There is a, Michelle, is there a timeline when Rick at A-Turf needs this?
Julian, did he give you one today? That email didn't indicate it. Bob,
He did not. We were able to release the body of the field, the main colors, and basically the process that happens is the main field gets sewn together and then the graphics are cut and then glued after the fact. I can get a drop dead date from him tomorrow. We do want to turn it around quickly because the graphics do take time to finalize and design and then actually fabricate to get out here in time to be placed immediately following that multi-purpose field main body being laid out. So we do want to try to expedite the decision, but I could work to get a drop dead date from Rick tomorrow.
And the request did go in to see if there was an intermediate brown there, Bob, between the two that you had indicated in the email. I just
We can't hear you when we can't hear you.
the request did go in to see if there was an intermediate brown between the two that you had indicated. I haven't seen anything back yet, so we'll follow up on that in the morning.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, anything else? I think there's a few more.
Is there any other questions on Vets Park?
No.
Okay, so we do have a quick update on phase 3.3 and 3.4. So refresh on those. 3.3 is the high school, specifically the district office and the sports field out back, along with the relocation of the tennis courts, new tennis courts. And phase 3.4 is the Prospect cafeteria renovation and the additions over at Prospect. So Jake from Hunt is going to talk to the first slide, which is phase 3.3, the high school campus.
Afternoon, everybody. I think for the most part, this slide is pretty self-explanatory, but you know, the base scope is pretty much where it's been here lately. The DD documents, which is our design development, it's pretty much our halfway mark. That was completed and kind of handed over to the district and Turner for estimate end of April. And then this previous month was done for estimating and kind of reconciling that, you know, to make sure we were on track and scope and budget wise. Last week we had some design team meetings with the staff members in the multi-purpose room, kind of go through each of these spaces to make sure we kind of have everything included and it's what is expected. There were some revisions to that and some updates and some information, which was very helpful. I actually just distributed the notes from that last week and an update to the plan probably just a half an hour before this meeting. So we're working through that. So essentially we're at the halfway point, and once we get scope kind of dialed in, we're looking to keep that schedule for project bid in January, February. That's kind of dependent on SCD submission in late August here. So depending on kind of where the next month goes with design and scope, we should be on track for that.
And the construction for that does run from January, next spring through September of 2022. So about a 2-year time period. Are there any questions on that phase?
So with the scope on that, is it hitting budget or are we gonna have 1,000 change orders?
The DD estimate did come back a couple $100,000 under budget. That is really dependent on the updates we had last week. There's definitely some scope added in that space, for sure. We are trending to be on budget. Change orders are always something we try not to head off during design, obviously. Every project, that's always a concern. And the estimate does include a contingency planned for that purpose so the project can be complete.
I'm well aware of change orders, because we see them coming in all the time. So I just want to know with the future projects, if we're trying to make sure that we do our homework up front, instead of waiting until we're behind the 8 ball and then it's change order, change order, change order.
Yeah, like I said, change orders are always something we're trying to get ahead of. We're pushing our team to kind of triple, quadruple be on site to try to make sure we head off those things. We're always on site multiple times and document everything we can and try to see any unforeseens we can. Again, for the process.
Right now, what's the seating look like for the track?
For the track? At referendum, there was no seating, and between SD and DD was a district request to add a press box to go along with the video board, which we added a 100-seat bleacher with that press box. We're currently looking at options to increase that, but that is still in the works based on the meeting from last Tuesday.
Are there any additional questions on 3.3?
No.
Okay, with that, we'll move to phase 3.4. This is Prospect Elementary. Alan from Hunt is the architect for this phase, and he's going to walk through what's included with the work and where we're at in pre-construction for design.
Thank you, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll walk through the progress and the scope of the work at Prospect Elementary. The bulk of the work will be 2 new building additions off of the pre-K classroom wing, that's the D wing, and another building addition off of the 3rd grade classroom wing, that's the E wing. The first building addition is 2 brand new UPK rooms, standalone with their own toilet rooms, sinks for hand washing for the students at a lower level for easy access, and a bubbler drinking fountain, as well as a higher sink at accessibility height for staff and visitors. Couple highlights of the space. We have lots of built-in storage. As you know, there's a lot of equipment and materials that the staff children use in those spaces. And also in that same wing, we have additional staff toilet room and a janitor's closet to help support the needs of the building. The other building addition, the one off of the 2nd and 3rd grade classroom wing, it's the E wing, is 2 rooms. The first one is a primary classroom. The design will be very similar to the UPK rooms, so that as program changes throughout the lifespan of the building, that the rooms can be used interchangeably. So that's something we've considered. So again, it has a high-low sink situation. It has a toilet room and all the storage and cubbies. Additionally, the addition also has another staff toilet room, as they're in high demand, and that wing lacks any for staff And the other room on that addition is a new elementary-based STEAM lab. The STEAM lab is larger than your normal classroom. It's coming in at about 1,700 square feet. Have a large storage space for materials, a washing station with 3 sinks, so that during cleanup that we don't have a queue of children trying to wash hands and get to where they need to go. A couple of the additional program highlights is the room will have a Lego wall that will be on display on the south wall, and something just interesting and creative for the children to use. It'll also have an exterior exit to the open courtyard, which is existing. And in the courtyard, we'll be providing 2 raised planter beds with all the medium needed for that program to be used. Other program highlights, over by the gymnasium, we are adding a staff toilet room by Boys Toilet Room 108, as well as Toilet Room 108 will be renovated and made 100% accessible. The girls' locker room, the boys' locker room will be reconfigured slightly with the showers being removed and a new shared office space for PE staff to be used. And then finally, in the inside of the building, the cafeteria, or gym-a-cafetorium as they call it in this school, is getting an interior finishes upgrade. So that's new wall finishes, and the exterior glazing systems getting replaced, the entrance doors, as well as new gym flooring. Other highlights of the project is we will be extending and modifying the existing fire lane to accommodate the new addition to serve that properly, as well as some underground retainage. Does anyone have any questions on program? Okay, and I just wanted to touch, oh, go ahead.
No, we're good, Alan.
Okay, I just wanted to address the change orders as well as Jake, just to build off of what he was discussing. My team has been out in the field multiple times, architects, engineers, and the interior designers, as well as I've been out multiple times walking the space. We take plenty of documentation. And then once we go to SED for document review, my team will be coming out on the site with our documents and walking the space and making sure that all the existing conditions have been caught. Just schedule, the documents are just about at the end of construction document phase. They are, will be ready for SED submission at the end of this month.
Other questions on Prospect?
Just with regards to the prospect work, can you talk a little bit about the expected SED turnaround time for the plans? Because
yes. Yes. We are in a very different time. So in the past, SED review times have been very long, up to 6 months. Strangely enough, the website reports lately that the review times is 2 to 4 weeks for architectural review and 2 to 4 weeks for mechanical review. So adding on a few weeks in the beginning for the paperwork to get processed, and then the review time, and then to respond to any comments. I think 8 weeks would be a sufficient timeline to base their review on. So for aiming for a fall bid date, we are in good shape with the schedule.
Thank you.
The original anticipated bid timeframe for this was January 2021. So we are hoping to go out to bid would be about 3 months early.
Thank you.
Questions? Now, it does bring us to the end of the capital project presentation. Rob, I need to do anything to return it to yourself.
We're good.
Okay,
Yep, thank you.
thank you.
Central office message, so Mark, will start.
Sure. Well, the academic year came to a abrupt conclusion, and we will be celebrating the graduation of our seniors this Friday. I'd like to just once again thank all of the individuals who made the year a success. There were many different challenges that we had to overcome. And later on, throughout the meeting, you're going to see that there are several MOAs and various agreements that we had to put through in the personnel section to accommodate some of the obstacles that COVID presented in the pandemic with the labor agreements. And I just wanted to extend my gratitude to the leaders of our collective bargaining associations. They collaborated on all of these MOAs in a matter of minutes, not even hours. We were able to come up to a logical conclusion and an agreement, and I think everybody ended up in a good place. That really just speaks to the type of positive relationships we have within the organization. And from the district level, I just wanted to extend our gratitude to them. SAMHSA, which is our administrators and supervisors, also has a contract extension which is coming up, and that entire contract was resolved in a matter of only 2 to 3 meetings. And I wanted to again express my gratitude to their leadership as well as to Mrs. McGarrett and Mrs. Breitenstein who allowed us to get that done in an efficient manner and in a way that will benefit both the district and our employees. So once again, thank you to all of our staff members. And for those of you that are not returning over the summer, I hope you have a great, relaxing vacation.
Karen? What was passed? That's good. So now we're working on setting up the new budget, closing out the old one, all that kind of stuff. Other than that, okay. So our board message, Brad, you want to start?
Have a good
Barb? Right. For some reason, I thought it was Saturday, but I'm not sure it's correct date. And I did request because I wanted to everybody, the community, for what we can accomplish.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say congratulations to the class of 2020. It's been a very untraditional end into a long school career, so again, I wish everybody luck.
Gary?
Yeah, same. I want to echo those sentiments. Congratulations to our graduates. I also want to say thank you to all of our district voters for re-electing me for another 5 years. I'm sure Bob and Mark are absolutely thrilled that I can keep 5 more years for them. But yeah, thank you to everybody who voted for me. It's much appreciated. Also, I just wanted to throw out there for parents, students, if you're listening, keep up with any kind of studies you possibly can. Right now, our school year already ended. You know, we have no idea what's going to happen in the fall, but we're looking at 2.5 months at least of no regular instruction. This is coming off 3 months of non-traditional instruction. We already know over the summer, so many people can lose so much. You know, your retention just drops. But it would be my suggestion to just pick up a book, look at some online learning. For the little kids, look at some of the fun learning apps. Anything, just anything to stay on top of any kind of studies that you possibly can think of. That's important. And just don't let this summer fly by without attempting anything. That's my recommendation. Thank you.
I just want to say, I'll be there in person to congratulate the class of 2020, because they love to hear me speak with my booming voice. And congratulations to Carrie for being reelected. She knows what's going on in the district, and it's nice to have a board member that wants to stay on and continue building what we've done. So I'm really glad that he was also elected. And I want to say thank you to the community for coming out, and not just approving the budget, but approving the budget in a really, really major way. I think it was, what, over 80%, 83%. I remember a few years ago when it was like 61%. So it really just shows that the community is behind what we're doing, and that we're getting positive feedback. And again, even though we're not meeting face to face, you know, if you have questions or concerns, please make sure that you address it to any of the board members, the superintendent, the assistant superintendent. We just want to keep making the district stronger. So we're always open for suggestions, new ideas, and we just want to keep moving forward. So that's all I have. Bob?
Yes, first, and I think most important, I want to congratulate our students and our staff. As it's been said for a while, and will probably be said for a long time coming, the 2019-20 year will go down as in history as one heck of an adventure. Something we couldn't have imagined in our wildest dreams. Yet, throughout the past 14 weeks, we have seen countless instances from our faculty, staff, students, and community, resiliency, grit, determination, and tenacity. And in that time frame, we've also had mixed emotions of sadness, grief, disappointment, and loss. Not just loss of loved ones, but loss of experiences that are hard to get back for the class of 2020. And in some ways, the spring of 2020 has really been a realistic final exam for our students that life is sometimes challenging. But yet our students and our staff were models, and they rallied around other warriors. We hunkered down, we tried harder, we pushed our skills, and we learned valuable lessons about what real priorities are. Learning, friendship, family, and hard work. So congratulations to all of those in Warrior Nation for modeling those exemplary behaviors. And as Dr. Beeler said, we're winding down, but we're also accelerating for summer to begin. We're hiring, and we have a number of incredibly talented individuals on tonight's board agenda to join our Warrior family. One of the candidates, who is an alumni at Salamanca, said that they've never really felt comfortable in any color except red and gray, and we're delighted to have them back. And as we continue to welcome our new staff, we continue to work hard on our reopening. We're still waiting guidance from Albany and the State Education Department. We continue to meet both internally and externally across the region, and I'm confident that once we have clearer guidance from Albany and State Ed, we will mobilize the Warrior Nation and implement one heck of a reopening plan that meets not just our current needs, but plans for our future needs. And whether it's completely back in person, which is desirable, or all virtual, which is not desirable, but a function of things we can't control, or a hybrid model, a little of both, our staff and our families can rest well assured that we will make it work for everyone. It goes without saying that we couldn't do the work we've done for the past 14 weeks without our faculty and staff, our parents, our IT department, our tech folks, our transportation and food service personnel, help and cooperation from both the city, the nation, and our county partners. When our students were first dismissed in March, we weren't sure how we would resolve these issues. And while they're still not resolved, it's safe to say that while 2020 isn't the year we wanted, or isn't the experience we had hoped for, we have the students and the faculty and staff that we deserve. Outstanding. A few other issues as we prepare to say goodbye to the class of 2020 this weekend on Friday. I want to note, as Mark had indicated, that we have a number of agreements, and for those who are wondering, we do have agreement in principle with the Teachers Association on adjusting the teacher assistant salary schedule. Unfortunately, timing didn't help us much today, but I did get an email late this afternoon that they have accepted the offer that we agreed to on Thursday. That will be on the July 14th agenda in case folks are keeping track, which I'm sure some are. I also received word yesterday from representatives of the senior class who have asked permission, and I agree wholeheartedly. The senior class is going to make a donation of a bench in honor of Mrs. Cindy Moore, which a number of the students had in elementary school. And I think it's one more example of our warrior students rising to meet the challenge for our community. I do also want to note that we've discovered a typographical error in the calendar that we approved for 2021. As much as I would like my birthday month to be longer, there is no such thing as November 31st. So we will need to adjust that and make adjustments to the calendar. So that will also be on the July 14th reorganizational meeting. And I apologize for that error, even though dozens of people looked at it. That was one in the crisis of COVID that got by us. I also want to note and update the board from our previous conversations that we will be reaching out to Cat County for the creation and job description of a clerk of the works for future and current capital project work to assist us so we can stay focused on reopening and instructional needs. And at this time, I'm going to yield any remaining time that I have for the presentation of the yearbook to the board and the yearbook dedication of the yearbook staff members. I'll turn it over to Levi. And it goes without saying, and we're getting the highlight reel queued up there on the screen so we can share it to show everyone. It goes without saying that our yearbook advisors, our yearbook staff, our yearbook editors, which are all students, and the support of parents and the community is outstanding. And I can stop now. That was in the media. I was stretching my introduction. And I just want to congratulate the kids and the staff for another outstanding Seneca yearbook.
So we do have a short video of the presentation from the two yearbook editors, Allie Hill and Emma Fisk. And then also at the end of the video is the presentation of the dedication of the yearbook to Mr. Travis Apple.
Hi, it's Allie and Emma, your yearbook editors. And we're so excited to announce this year's yearbook theme. The theme is 2020 Vision! Salamanca is a place where students really get to see opportunity right before their eyes. Each class filled with lively subjects inspires students to visualize what their passion is. Warriors consistently find ways to make the better choice by looking ahead to their future. Every day, students at Sally High are driven to pursue their goals.
As a warrior, you passionately seek your way to success. You have full eyesight on 2020, swiftly navigating towards your future. With guidance, you determine what you see as right in the world and have an impact on everything in it. Though only being in high school, you exhibit leadership traits and attributes that are seen right when someone walks through the door.
With 2020 vision, the greater good is visible through the pictures and moments all captured through the eyes of students here at Sally High. Impacting the community, showing leadership skills, and exhibiting great character are all scenarios seen through the lens of the camera, initiating Salamanca Warriors to see who they really are.
We want to thank everyone who made this yearbook possible. Students, please check your emails from an email from Levi about when to pick up your yearbooks. Have a great summer, Sally High.
Bye!
Before we move on, I forgot that. Sorry, if you have anything you wanted to say, I apologize.
I didn't know if I missed it at the beginning, if you had offered me at first. I was like, oh, I guess I missed that. No, just to echo what, others have already said, thank you to the district voters for the big turnout, especially given the quarantine voting that we had, this time around. And also too, I just want to thank everyone at the district for the use of the school buses for Cindy's memorial procession. I watched from Broad Street, and when I saw the buses coming down Broad Street, immediately burst into so really appreciate this entire community. So, and that's it.
Thank you. Okay. We will move on to the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Carrie, second by Dale. All in favor? Aye. Thumbs up from Meg. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And we have our personnel consent agenda. So we need a motion to approve the personnel consent agenda. Motion by Barb.
Second.
Second by Brad. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay.
Yeah, a number of. To start with, why are we backdating Tim Schnapper's effective date to 1/9/20?
That was the date when Tim was put into the position, if I recall, and that's when his certification was backdated after he applied.
So why wasn't it brought forward months ago?
Honestly, I don't know why the delay is up top.
Okay.
I can find out. My recollection is that we were waiting for approval and it wasn't granted. That's my guess, but I'll confirm that by that.
There's approval
From the state for certification.
Yeah. The next one, Aim Kostrowski.
Yes.
Same thing, 4/23/20. Why are we backdating it?
First, I know with Annie, that was the date that we received notification of her certification. And we were determining where her position would be for the upcoming school year. It was an interview process.
Okay, follow up with that one. On the personnel roster, she's listed as computer technology. On on the transfer form, she's moving to 6th grade, and it's also under item number 9 that she's transferring voluntary from computer tech to elementary teacher. Why are we going through the process of all that if this is her first appointment date? Why don't we just bring her on as an elementary teacher?
The computer technology teacher is the assigned position, but it's within elementary. That's the title that she was at. She was a long-term sub for computers, so she didn't have the teacher certification for computers or elementary, and in April, that's when it all came forward.
I guess I just don't understand why we just didn't bring her on as elementary, especially since we had Tim Snapper already in there.
Tim had left that position and had gone to Prospect, and he is at Seneca. Okay, so there's a computer teacher in each of the buildings. Saturday in Prospect.
Okay.
Any other ones?
No, that was it.
Okay. We said a few, so I don't know if that went too few or.
Actually, I do have one more.
Okay.
Just a clarification. On the roster, we have a number of them listed as long-term subs for different positions. And under their resumes, they all have listed, not the resumes, but the hire forms, long-term subs. Amy Barowiak is listed as a universal pre-K teacher. So she's not a long-term sub?
Amy is a long-term sub. We were expecting the certification to come through from the previous test administration, but it is not yet come through. We were under the impression from the certification office from Bonas that was imminent and coming through. And when we completed the process last week, we took that advice, but without it in hand, it's actually a long-term sub. But as soon as you get the certification, then they go back and then their appointment date starts under the JURIMA credit rules. Once they start in a position with long-term sub, we can give them 2 years of credit towards tenure.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions? So we have a motion by Barb, second by Brad. All in favor? Aye. Is my hand right?
Can you pull up Meg's
That's
pictures of
really
the
high.
year?
I don't know if you can see me or not, but I have thumbs.
Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Every time somebody comes out or comes off, it shows it.
Yeah.
So Max, thumbs up. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried.
And we'll introduce some staff. We have a number of staff to introduce, and I have some able-bodied administrators standing by to make some introductions. And we'll start with Prospect and Ms. Pavone.
Good evening. I'm very excited for the 3 individuals that I have coming to Prospect. We went through a pretty rigorous interview process. I started with 32 individuals applying, and they kept asking, is there another interview after this one? And there kept being other interviews. So we did a screening interview, a team interview via Zoom, a lesson interview, and then they had an interview with Bob. So I'm going to start with Caitlin Atterbury. Caitlin is a Salamanca graduate and was at Prospect as an elementary student. So we are very excited to have her. She has both UPK and kindergarten experience, which is a wonderful thing to bring to the table with those 2 positions being open. So we're extremely excited to have her back, and I'm happy to have her as part of the team. Even before I started the interview process, I was getting phone calls that I better at least interview her. So I'm very excited to have her on board. So welcome, Caitlin. And then Amy I'm tongue-tied. Barowiak is also an individual that attended Prospect Elementary. They were both shocked by all the changes within the building, but she's also very excited to come back and be a part of Prospect. She has a lot of long-term sub-position experiences within the elementary setting, and we're very happy for her to bring that experience. And the references that I was able to touch base with had nothing but positives to say about all 3 individuals that we have coming on board. I'm just really, the lessons these 3 individuals did were phenomenal. So I know they're going to be a great match. We have Chris Camarano also joining us. Chris has 14 years of teaching experience already, which is a bonus for us. And she comes with a wide variety of experiences. And I think critically in this time, she has some life coach experience, and I think will help a lot with mindfulness and being trauma sensitive during this time with all the kids have experienced and the parents have experienced through the pandemic, as well as our staff. So very excited to have all 3 individuals on board.
I just want to say too, it's really great when we have our young local Warrior alumni coming back to support our school, because and Carrie John is probably one of the biggest advocates for hiring our local teachers, because, and you too, you know, you're invested in the school and you're invested in the community, and we're just so excited that you're coming back to be a Warrior and continue to be a Warrior. So just so happy.
I second that.
Yes.
We also have Mrs. Dudek, who has some introductions as Director of Pupil Personnel Services.
Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce 2 individuals this evening. Our first individual is someone who is near and dear and has spent some time with our Salamanca Warriors in many facets, both as a counselor and as a football coach. So Mr. Parisi will be coming over and working in the Pupil Service Office as the Assistant Director of Pupil Services, assisting me with CSE, CPSE, the grants, central registration, and with his background with doing that in Long Island, and also his background as a counselor and a principal, I think he will be an absolute wonderful addition to our suite and also to our families and our students. And I look forward to him working with our staff and taking our staff to the next level as we move forward with the changes and everything that's occurred from this year. So Jerry, welcome. Our second person is Lisa Petrullo. Lisa Petrullo is actually an intern from Buffalo State College who is completing her postmaster's in administration and is currently employed at Erie One Bosse's in their P-Tech race program, and also has significant background with Western New York CPC Center with children with severe emotional needs. Lisa will be working with us this summer and going through some of our processes, learning what it's like during the summer as an administrator and what it takes and what goes on during those months of July and August to get ready and to close out one school year and get ready for the next. So Lisa is also on the line, and I would like to welcome her during the months of June, July, and August.
I don't want to leave anyone out. That's what I saw. So principals, if you see anyone on the Zoom that we haven't introduced that is on the Zoom, please jump in here now. We don't want to leave anyone out. There's a number of personal appointments, but I just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Okay?
Okay, congratulations, everybody. On our old business, we need a motion to approve amending the civil service staff title from Chief Equity Officer to Chief Equity and Diversity Officer. Motion by Dale. Second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Thumbs up by Meg. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. And our new business. We have our Board of Education reorg meeting slated for July 14th at 5:30 p.m. So we need a motion to approve the reorganization.
Motion.
Motion by Carrie. Second by Dale. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Thumbs up by Meg. Opposed? Same. Motion carried. And our Cataracts County contracts, we need a motion to approve the Cataracts County contracts.
Oh. Second.
Motion by Dale. Second by Brad. Are there any questions on the contracts? All in favor?
Aye.
Thumbs up, Meg. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our MOU with Cataracts Community Action. Need a motion to approve the MOU. Motion by Barb.
Second.
Second by Carrie. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thumbs up by Meg. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our MOAs for the COVID pandemic. So we need a motion to approve all of the MOAs. Motion by Dave. Second by Brad. Are there any questions?
Not a question. Well, I guess it is. Bob, can you give us a rundown of what this entails?
I'll ask Mark or assist here because Mark has been instrumental in this, but for the 12-month employees, March 16th and 17th were call-in days where we pulled them in. And so we have language in the agreements for the majority of the 12-month employees that those days are compensated. So we had to adjust that as well. And then because of the COVID circumstances, all of our 12-month employees were not in a position to use the number of days that they would have normally taken without seriously jeopardizing food service, cleaning and custodial, or the continuity instructional plans. So this is to recognize how it worked and not have them lose days. Is that pretty much it, Mark?
That would be it.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? So we have a motion by Dale, second by Brad. All in favor? Aye. Meg, thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up, by Meg. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our SSSO MOA, we need a motion to approve the MOA. Motion by Barb.
Second.
Second by Carrie. Are there any questions?
This is for dental.
This is for the
That was omitted from the full contract negotiation.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thumbs up by Meg. Yes. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our SASSA contract, we need a motion to approve that contract. Motion by Brad. Second by Gail. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thumbs up by Meg. Abstained? Motion carried. And we have our contract for assistant superintendent and deputy superintendent. We need a motion to approve those contracts. Motion by Dale. Second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Meg? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Freeze. Freeze frame. Can't tell. He's frozen. Meg, you're frozen.
There you go.
Hey! We got a
Suspense.
We like the suspenseful. Thumbs up by Meg. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay. And our agreement, we need a motion to approve the SSSO agreement. Motion by Dale. Second by Brad. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Our internet is slow, so I got
Thumbs up. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our SUNY Erie, we need a motion to approve the SUNY Erie addendum.
Motion.
Motion by Carrie, second by Barb. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Thumbs up, aye. Shouldn't be the thumbs up, yep, thumbs up. By nine,
I got her on speaker. Okay, thumbs up, Meg? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so. Gotcha.
Okay, so we have thumbs up by nine, opposed, abstain, motion carried. And our equipment surplus, we need a motion to approve the surplus equipment listed.
Motion.
Motion by Rick. Second by Dan. Are there any questions on any of the surplus?
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay.
Not so much on this one, but about 16 months ago, we approved a surplus of books. And you're gonna be offered a chance to come and get those books. 16 months later, we still have not been offered that opportunity.
That is correct, and I think they're still sitting where they were before the virus. Okay.
Awesome. Any idea when we might get the opportunity?
I hope soon.
That's a wonderfully vague answer.
I don't have an answer for you today, Mr. John, but I will tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so. we
Follow-up
have-
question. What's going on with the surplus equipment?
This is all those, equipment that we purchased from them, so we'll go back.
Back in Bosse's?
Back
It's 19.
Okay, we have a motion by Brad, second by Dale, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And, we need to create and reclassify a few positions. Some are RTI reading coordinator, some RTI math coordinator, and reclass LA coach to elementary, full-time elementary teacher. We need a motion to reclassify those positions.
Motion.
Motion by Brad. Second by Dale. Are there any questions? All in favor? Oh, sorry, Byron.
The elementary position that is currently held by Mel Ross, due to some enrollment concerns in third grade, we decided that we wanted to make sure we had another section at third grade. And that means Mel is leaving an elementary position that was still all elementary certification, but she was assigned as an instructional coach. So Mel is going back into the classroom for request and on request because of the need. Those are summer math programs. Mark, do you want to touch on those two positions? The RTI and the.
Yes, right. So tonight we actually appointed two reading and a math coordinator. What we requested is the additional math coordinator. With the remote learning, what we've identified is that the learning gap between students who are on level and then those who are off level is expanding. So we're looking to provide more intensive support for those students that we identify as significantly below grade level. We had planned on one each, a reading and a math coordinator. We'd like to expand that so that there can be two of each, so that we can provide more intensive service and break it up by grade levels, as opposed to something like K through 8. We'd like to go K through 4 and 5 through 8. Just summer. We have all year program coordinators, so this is just for the summer, for the months of July and August. Oh, no, absolutely. Right.
Well, and to clarify too, now that we asked questions, it says conditional upon summer programs being permitted. So that means only if summer school is in operation or virtually.
We anticipate this going either way. In fact, just recently, we have been, as of either today or yesterday, we can now do summer camps. So the coordinators who have been appointed tonight, I've already reached out to them and said, how can we have a RCI camp so that we can actually be able to provide some of our intervention services through a camp type model? So this is going to happen one way or the other. We needed to have that in there in the event that we were forbidden from running it. That way we can still compensate for any work, the prep work that was done by those coordinators prior to the cancellation of the program.
How many students are allowed for these camps?
Actually, the information is so new, it is really only about 24 hours.
Okay. What I was going to add is that today we found out unofficially that the governor has directed that we have to have re-entry plans, reopening plans into the state by July 15th, which is fine. And we've had a lot of conversations, but there's still zero guidance from the state as to what that looks like. So we met again today on a regional basis to do some of that prep work on a regional level. But it will be pretty much like all of the other directives and guidance from the state. It will be with very little notice, I anticipate. But I'm not concerned about the notice because we continue to have those conversations. But turning it around and getting it out to our and having staff available is going to be a challenge. So very much of it is, while it's slowed down the pace of announcements, there's still a lot of things that are coming from Albany that aren't necessarily proactive. So yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, we talked about that today. I did look through some of those that I got on the listservs. And I agree that they're going to be probably pretty close with the exception of transportation and food service. Thanks.
Okay. Any guidance whatsoever on sport programs?
Very little. Very little. All right, we have a motion by Brad, second by Dale. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And we need a motion to approve the roofing contract for A.W. Farrell and Sons for $7,200. Motion by Barb. Second by Dale. Are there any questions on the roofing contract? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our budget transfer, need a motion to approve the budget transfer. Motion by Brad. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Dale. Are there any questions on the budget transfer? Anything you want to go over here?
No, standard practice.
This is standard. So we have a motion by Brad, second by Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And our capital project change orders. The numerous capital project change orders. We need a motion to approve them all. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Dale.
I'll second.
Second by Carrie. Are there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. And then we have our board information and reports. Oh, yes. So it's not a thank you note, but it is for the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, an award of excellence for exemplary display of sportsmanship, ethics, and integrity presented to Salamanca High School from Robert Zayas, Executive Director, and Carissa Niehoff, Executive Director of the National Federation of State High School Athletic Association. So congratulations to all of our Warrior athletes, coaches, and fans for displaying sportsmanship, ethics, and integrity in the true spirit of athletic competition. We'll get this to Mr. Siebert to properly display.
Okay. I hope everybody tunes in for the graduation event on the 26th, which is Friday, not Saturday, Bart. And joins us for the reorg meeting on the 14th.
And board members, in prep for the reorg meeting on the 14th of July, if you can think of committee assignments and meeting dates, if you want to keep them first and fourth, go back to first and third, second and fourth. I know schedules sometimes change. Whatever your decision is a board decision. So because we're working on the school calendar for an August printing. So that is fairly time.
Can you have Janet send out an email of the current listing?
I will do that.
I think that's what we did last year.
Yeah, usually that's what we did last year.
Oh, there's one other issue that totally slipped my mind. We finished a significant milestone for our strategic planning. We met for several hours yesterday, several hours today. Some great work done by the community and staff and students over the past 10 months or so. The documents are in the hands of the graphic designers, and we expect a rough mapping in of the plan and the graphics and the design to be ready for the board. We expect a grand unveiling and public presentation on or about the first August board meeting, with some community rollouts in early August, continuing late August, and then a student unveiling with students on the first day of school or second day of school based on principal schedules, and multiple meetings with staff over the summer. The work that the team has done is exemplary and invigorating. Long, but invigorating.
Good to hear. Anything else? Okay, need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Carrie. Second by Brad. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same. Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Congratulations.
New hires. Welcome, new warriors.